All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Today's topic is about getting active. Before we get started, just a couple of those normal items to take care of. We'll have time for some questions at the end. You can type those in by clicking the Q&A section in the lower portion of your control panel. We'll be posting a recording of this webinar on our blog. The link for that will be shown at the end. And if you'd like a PDF copy of the presentation, there will be a link to download that on that same post as the recording. If your question does not get answered today, or if you think of any other ones, please email our support inbox, which will be shown at the end as well. All right, so what is the plan for today? We'll get a brief refresher on what the exercise recommendations are and why we should include each type into a routine. Then we'll talk a bit about staying consistent and motivated with your exercise. And then we'll do about a 10-minute actual workout for any of those who want to join in. So let's get started so we can get to that exercise. Let's get started with the benefits of cardio. So cardio is short for cardiovascular, or aerobic is another term that you may hear interchanged when we're talking this kind of exercise. But really, it's just getting that heart rate elevated, right? It's working that heart muscle. There are a ton of ways to do this, and they all have great health benefits. Let's talk about some of the main ones right now. It strengthens your heart, which makes sense, right? Your heart is a muscle like any other one in your body. We have to put stress on it so that it adapts and gets stronger. And we do that by doing cardio. So your heart has to beat a little faster. Cardio can help manage and prevent chronic conditions. Things like arthritis is a good example. One of the ways it does this is that it reduces inflammation in our bodies, which is the cause of many health issues. So lowering that is really huge when it comes to management and prevention of chronic conditions. Aerobic exercise helps activate our immune system and can help leave you less susceptible to colds and flu viruses. All good, right? Let's talk about mental health. Aerobic exercise specifically, can help improve our mood, including reducing anxiety and depression. Cardio can help brain health in general as well. We start to lose brain tissue at about age 30, but aerobic exercise may slow this loss and improve cognitive performance. So things like promoting memory, reasoning, judgment, and thinking skills. According to the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation, regular exercise can reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's by up to 50%. That is crazy. And it also can slow further deterioration in those that may have already started to develop problems with that. So it's never too late to start exercise and start to get benefits. And then sleep, of course, quality and duration of sleep can both be impacted positively with cardio during the day. And we know that sleep sets the tone for our entire day, right? So that's huge. So a quick summary of the recommendations for the amount of cardio we want to get. 150 minutes of moderate exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise each week. So moderate exercises would include things like your walking, dancing, mowing the lawn. Vigorous would be more along the lines of running or more cardio specific, like plyometric workouts with things like jumping jacks, things that really push that heart rate up. High intensity interval training is one of those terms you may have heard. That would be considered vigorous exercise. So we got the cardio. How about strength training? A lot of us may think of just cardio when you think of exercise, but what are some of the major reasons to include strength training? Well, first, it increases your muscle mass. Now, this one might be kind of obvious, but it's a really important benefit that we sometimes overlook. Muscle mass naturally decreases as we get older, but we can help slow down and reverse this trend with regular strength training. Now, I know it might not be something that you want to think about, but this strength training could be the difference between you being able to live on your own longer and needing more assistance as we get older. Upper body strength specifically can be a big indicator of independence. Things like carrying groceries in the house, putting them away, carrying laundry. Think about all those things you do in your daily life that you kind of take for granted, and then think about doing them with half the strength, we'll say. Gaining muscle mass can also help prevent falls as well. And again, those are much more serious as we get older. So prevention now is the key to helping prevent those things in the future. And then bone and joint health. Strength training puts stress on our muscles, right? Our muscles adapt by building themselves back up stronger. And our bones are the same way. When they're stressed through strength training, they actually can increase in density and can fracture less and be less susceptible to osteoporosis, which is low bone density. And then strengthening the muscles around our joints helps stabilize and can help with injury prevention as well. And then chronic conditions as well, overlapping some of the cardio benefits. Strength training can help manage those things. And then mental health, same thing. I mentioned the Alzheimer's stat. Strength training is also included in those studies as well. It can help with daily stress and things like Alzheimer's. If you get a good weight training session in, the physical and mental symptoms of stress can really, really be reduced. All right, quick overview of the general recommendations for strength training in general. 2 to 3 times a week for all the major muscle groups listed here. Look to do a minimum of what we call 1 set, which is around 12 to 15 repetitions of whatever movement you're doing. So we're gonna do a little bit with our exercise here. We're just gonna do 1 set of a few different things. The goal is you should be able to finish with good form, but your muscles should be tired by the end of those repetitions. So once you can do that with whatever movement you're doing, if you have weights, if you don't have weights, once you can do that movement easily for that many times, then you should progress, either add more weight or you can do a different exercise that's a little bit more difficult, like if you're doing body weight exercises. And for some like body weight crunches, things like that, you might be able to do more than 12 to 15, but still follow the same rules of finishing with good form and being tired before you progress to that next level. All right, how about stretching and balance? This one, as I've said in other webinars, is probably the most overlooked aspect of exercise, but it definitely should be. So, or shouldn't be, I should say. Benefits of stretching and balance. Having good range of motion and flexibility can actually slow the degeneration of your joints. And if you've had an injury that has prevented you kind of from moving certain joints for a bit, those exercises, stretching, can become even more important to regain that range of motion and movement, just to be able to do our normal day-to-day tasks, right? Stretching also helps prevent, can help prevent injury. If your muscles aren't used to stretching, and then you all of a sudden either purposely or accidentally do a movement that stretches it, what's going to happen? We're probably going to pull a muscle. You can tear muscle, not so good things. So if we already have that good stretching, good range of motion, is going to help prevent that. And stretching can also help relieve aches and pains from exercises or just normal activities, or if you have a lot of work activity that you have to do. Promotes circulation to our body and increases blood supply to our muscles, which brings more nutrients. And what that does is it shortens the recovery time that our muscles need to feel ready again. So if you have a hard workout, but then you take some time to stretch afterward, it can help that soreness be less and less and last less. Stretching can actually help improve our posture as well. Specifically stretching the muscles of the lower back, the shoulders, and the chest can keep your back just in better alignment. And another side note with that, if you have lower back pain, paying attention to stretching your hamstrings can really benefit actually lower back. People don't really think about that, how the muscles work there, but many people could actually lower their lower back pain by just stretching more overall. And then mental health as well. When you stretch regularly, your muscles hold less tension, which can help that physical response that happens when we're stressed, right? And balance builds on these benefits as well. If you have better balance, you have better coordination, better reaction time typically, which can help prevent falls and injuries, again, especially as we get older. It also helps stabilize your joints, which plays a part in injury prevention as well. So balance and stretching kind of go together. As far as recommendations, we hear different things with stretching, but for our purposes today, I'm going to just give what is generally considered the recommendations for static stretching. There's different kinds of stretching too, but static stretching is where you just simply get into the stretch and hold it. There's no movement that goes along with it. Basically, we want to stretch after your cardio and strength sessions. And if you don't already incorporate it into your workouts, 2 to 3 days per week of a stretching and or balance specific workout, something like yoga or Tai Chi, which is pictured here. And if you're stretching after a workout or after your warm up, look to hold each stretch really anywhere from 10 seconds to 60 seconds, kind of depending on how much time you have. But breathe deep, get into that stretch as much as you can. And then if you're stretching after, make sure you're specifically focusing on those muscles that you've worked during the workout. And then for balance, there's not really an official recommendation frequency, but really something that can be done and should be done every day or incorporated into your different workouts. Okay, so this information may have been new to you, or it may not have been. You know, it's out there. You can get the recommendations for exercise. But even if we know the benefits of exercising, it can be really hard to stay motivated to keep up. We've got busy lives, and unfortunately, exercise can be one of those things that we put down that priority list. So I just wanted to add a few things to think about to help keep that exercise consistent. First is create the habit first. So what I mean by this is that you don't have to work out for an hour a day right away. This is a trap that a lot of people fall into. You know, we're gung-ho right away. We're motivated for that week after New Year's, right? And we go crazy. We let it take over our lives. And then we sacrifice so much else right away that it's not sustainable to keep up. We don't need to exercise for 3 hours every day, but some of us do that, right? So what I want you to do is if you don't have an exercise routine at all, something to try is just exercise for 5 minutes. Pick a time in your schedule and say, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes. So what this does is that it starts to create that mental connection of exercise within your schedule. Now, eventually, obviously, you're going to want to go for longer, but creating that actual habit of putting on your exercise shoes and going for a walk, even for 5 minutes, is helping you mentally create those long-lasting habits. And this goes along with my next tip, which is small steps. So like I said, sometimes we go from 0 to 60 right away, right? This can cause burnout, or even worse, it can cause injury. So pick one small step, one small goal each week or each couple weeks, and just build from there. This is going to be easier mentally and physically and will help you stay consistent. And then once you've started to create those habits and small steps, put them in your calendar. Treat an exercise session like a doctor's visit or an important meeting that you really, really need to have a good reason to reschedule. And then to help that, find a workout buddy. This can be in person, virtual, whatever it is, but having someone to help with that accountability of sticking with the exercise sessions can really be one of the biggest factors. I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. You don't want to let them down, right? They don't want to let you down. So you have that accountability and almost a little guilt factor to help you get into that habit before it's kind of ingrained in your week. And then next is finding inspiration. You can use people, you can use your workout buddy, those that you know, or even ones that you just know their stories from online or somewhere. You can find some really good motivational sayings or mantras that you can use. That may seem kind of corny, but those little boosts, like this quote that I have on here, can really help, especially if you're having maybe a not so good day or week and are struggling a bit. Looking at positive messages and stories of people maybe just like you who've succeeded can be the difference between lacing up those sneakers for that day or not, right? And the next is know yourself. People are motivated by different things. Are you motivated by the carrot or the stick? So this is an old saying that means that we're either motivated by reward, which is the carrot, or the stick, which is a fear of punishment. Now, if you tell yourself, you get to buy those new workout shoes once you work out consistently for a month, that might be the key for you. That's a carrot, right? If you have to pay your friend $20 if you don't work out 3 days per week, maybe that's going to motivate you. That's the stick, right? Your fear of punishment. It might be that it's both for you, that either one works, but I want you to stop and kind of think about what type of person you are and see if you think one of those strategies could help. Now, again, these are meant to get started. Eventually, the goal is to get that intrinsic motivation where that motivation comes from within, but there's nothing wrong with having outside motivation as well, right? Especially in the beginning to help build yourself up. And then next is using non-scale victories. The scale is not the only factor in determining our health. So please don't focus solely on it. It can be important, but it's not the only thing out there. Think about your mood. Think about your energy levels. Think about how your clothes fit, things like that. Let those non-scale victories determine your success level, and that can help with that motivation. And then make it fun. Some people live for torturous exercise and they love the feeling when they're done, right? Some people do not. If you're one of those second people, especially, make exercise fun. You can create a great music playlist. You can find some creative routines online or make your own routine. Just move that body and you'll get benefits, which is what we're going to do today. I'm going to do really simple exercises, but it's just options. Just get up and get moving. But we don't want to make it a terrible experience, right? Or we're not going to stick with it. And then lastly, find your why. Why do you want to be healthy? Write it down, share it with people if you want, but you need to determine your why, and you need to keep reminding yourself of it, especially on those bad days. Use it as your mantra when you're breathing hard and you want to stop during that exercise routine. Finding that why can be the difference in long-term success. So, all right, hopefully you got some ideas, some things to stay consistent. So let's actually get up and get moving now. I'm hoping you can do this wherever, because I'm in my room, so we can do it wherever. So feel free to join me really quick, just to give you some general ideas of things you can do. As a reminder though, before we start, don't do anything you don't feel comfortable doing, and always chat with your doctor, if you have any concerns or before starting a new exercise routine. So just make sure you're being mindful of that. All right, I'm going to stop sharing here. I'm going to start my video so that you can all see me, which is always fun. All right. So, like I said, quick exercise routine that you can hopefully do anywhere. As you can see in my gym here, you don't need a lot of space to exercise. You don't need equipment. You can use equipment. We are not going to use equipment today, but you absolutely can use it. And I'll kind of show you where you can use it. But I'm going to pull up my clock here so I don't go over my time. So first, we're just going to start with a cardio / warm-up. So we always want to do a warm-up, ideally, 5 minutes or so, but really we just want to get that blood flowing so we can help prevent some energy. So we're just going to start off with walking in place. And so we start off, we get the blood flowing to the muscles, we get everything warmed up. And then with that warm-up, we can go into some more difficult, progression. So what you can do after you feel comfortable and feel warmed up for the cardio side, you can walk in place like I'm doing. You can do this anywhere. You can do it in front of your TV. You can do it wherever you want to do, at your desk if you're at work. And then if you want to progress a little bit, we can raise up those knees, right? So easy progression, but as you can see, it's going to be a little hard. As you can feel, if you're doing it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Going to get that heart rate up a little bit. And then what you can do is you can go to a jog, right? Easy progression. Again, I'm not doing anything. I'm not moving anywhere. I don't need any extra equipment, but my heart rate is going up right now, especially because I'm talking. If you guys want to talk to yourself while you're doing this, it will certainly help. But then you can even add like some jumping jacks. You can do a modified jumping jack if you don't want to go fully. So you can just step out to the side like this. All sorts of modifications depending on if you have knee problems, whatever it is, again, but we go from walking to running to jumping, whatever it is for that cardio. So cardio, all you got to do is move until you feel that heart rate up. Let's do some exercises for each body part. First, I'm going to start with the arms. So simple bicep curl. Again, you can hold weights. If you have hand weights, great. You can use soup cans. You can use really anything that you can hold comfortably. The only thing I would say, make sure that you've got things that are the same size. You don't want something that weighs 8 pounds on one side and 2 pounds on the other side, right? So bicep curls, biceps are the front of those arms. So all we're going to do is if you have something, hold it down here. If you don't, like me, we're just going to focus on squeezing those muscles. So go to the side here. We keep our elbows. The only part of our body, of our arm we're going to move is the forearm. So we're just going to squeeze it up. So again, focus on here. You can squeeze your muscles harder even without weights. So we're going to squeeze it up. You want to move while you're doing this? Feel free. Make this as easy or hard as you want. Again, 12 to 15 repetitions. Once you feel like you can do that pretty easy for 1, 2, or 3 sets, then you can add some weights in your hands. So upper body or upper arms, we got that. Next thing we can do is the back of our arms, the triceps. So this one, same thing. We're going to put one foot in front of the other so we can bend over a little bit. Both of my feet are pointed this direction. We're going to bend over a little bit, keeping our back as straight as we can, keeping our abs pulled in, pull that belly button in towards the spine because we want an ab workout too. Why not, right? So we're going to put our elbows again by our sides. We're still going to move our forearms. We're going to squeeze them back this time. So again, I'm not using any weights, but I'm really focusing on squeezing the back of my arms, right? You don't have to do anything crazy to still activate those muscles because they're going to respond. And then we add weight as you feel, progress as you want to. So those are the back of the arms. So let's do shoulders. We'll stick with that upper body. Shoulders, really simple. We'll just do a shoulder press. So all you're going to do, bring your arms to 90 degrees. You're just going to push up. One thing to think about with your breathing, we breathe when we do the work. So when I'm pushing up, I'm going to exhale, breathe out, then inhale when you come back down. This gets more important as you increase that weight, as you increase the difficulty. So just something to think about there. But again, we're just squeezing up. A couple progressions with shoulders you can do, or just different options. You can do front raises. So again, holding weights or not holding weights. So we're just going to go front like that. But you can just get into some different muscles in the shoulders. And you can do out to the side. This one can get pretty difficult with weights. At least it is for me, which obviously means I need to do it more with more weights. But again, you're just working all around those shoulders. So we got the arms. Let's move to some of the lower body here. So I'm going to move my camera a little bit so you can see a little bit. So squats and lunges, simple. That's all we're going to do for the lower body. And that's all you need to do. So squat, we're just going to bring our feet about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider, depending on how comfortable you are. And we're just going to pretend we're going to sit in a chair, except there's no chair there. So don't sit all the way down. So we're just going to go down and we're going to squeeze up. So when you go down, you're going to feel it in the quads, in the front. When you come up, you really want to squeeze it in the hamstrings and the glutes. Big thing with squats, we don't want to go down too far. So go down whatever's comfortable. We don't want those knees to go in front of our toes. Come back a little bit. So when I go down, I want to sit back. Your knees are going to come up a little bit, but we don't want them to go in front of our toes because it can cause some stress, especially if you've got knee issues already. Just go down as far as is comfortable. Lunges are another workout that we can do. A couple different ways to do lunges. You can step back into a lunge. So if I'm just standing here, upper body's nice and straight, course pulled in, I step back, go down as far as is comfortable. Again, I don't have to go all the way down to the floor. We go down as far as is comfortable. Front knee does not go in front of my toe, and then I step back up, and then we switch, right? Just down and up. This one can get a little more into the cardio depending on how fast you want to go. The other way to do a lunge is to step forward. So I go back and I step forward and go down. So same thing. This one might be a little more difficult, especially if you've got knee problems, just because your momentum's going forward. So just really be careful that those knees don't go too far forward. You can also do pulses with lunges. So I can sit down and I just stay here and I go do a little pulse. You're going to feel that back here. You're going to start to feel it in all of your legs. And then make sure you switch sides. Biggest thing with exercise, make sure you're doing, if you just do one side at a time, make sure you do the other side as well. So again, I'm just kind of creating as I go here. You do what you want. If you've got 10 minutes, you can still get in a great workout, right? All right, so we got the arms, we got the legs. Let's do some abs. So abs, what I want to do is kind of an overhead, pretend you're holding a medicine ball, or if you've got something that you want to hold, go ahead. We're just going to lift it up. We're just going to do some circles. So we're just going to rotate forward and around, just kind of make a circle with our arms. So this is going to activate all around in our core. And you can squeeze it harder too. Just think about that. Squeeze those core muscles and they're going to work harder. And then we go in the other direction. Pull that belly button in towards the spine. Really make them work. We all want a good core, right? But core is important just to be strong. We're not all going to get a six-pack. In fact, very few of us will get a six-pack. But if we can have a strong core, that feeds the rest of our body. Another core thing to do is just a side bend. So you can have the arms up again or holding something. And you can just go down to the side and then squeeze those obliques, those side abs when you come back up. Squeeze it up. And then switch. So again, you can add weights to have that progression, or you can make it easier by having your hands down too. And you can hold weights down here as well. So if I go down and then I squeeze up, I'm still doing the same thing. I'm just in a different spot. Now we've been kind of using our back, but a specific back exercise too is called a bent over row. So if I get into the same exercise or same position as I did with our triceps, we're going to go down, keep that back flat. But what we're going to do is we're just going to squeeze those elbows up and back, squeezing our shoulder blades together, squeezing those upper back muscles. So you can keep the elbows in, or you can go out to the side like this. Again, holding weights or no, whatever progression you want to do, it's easy to make it more difficult or easier. Out, squeeze those back muscles in. Just focus, whatever you're doing, focus on those muscles that you want to improve, and it's going to help. So back. All right, let's do some balance and some stretching to end with. So balance, really, really simple. If you need help, grab a wall, grab a bureau, whatever it is. We're just going to lift one foot out. That's it. To work on balance, you just balance, right? And so progressions with this, though, is you can move that leg. So we can go out. You can make some circles, keeping that standing leg a little bit bent, keeping that knee a little bit bent. Make sure you're switching sides when you do stuff. So again, we just hold it here. We go out to the side to get a little leg exercise in there. Get into those obliques a little bit. We can go forward. We can go back. Whatever it is, you can progress as much as you want. Balance is really, really, really important, like I said. So incorporate that into your workouts and just do what you can whenever you can. If you have a minute, stand up and do that. And then for stretching, I said, try to hold things for, 20, 30, 60 seconds, depending on how much time you have. Obviously, we don't have much time left, but a couple stretches to get the whole body, upper body, reach across with one arm, put that hand behind the elbow and just put a little pressure until you feel that stretch. We don't want any pain, just some stretch. So you feel it in the shoulder and the upper back that we were working. And then again, make sure you're switching sides. So this is to get that upper body. Another upper body one can get into the triceps and the side a little more. Reach up and then down the back, and then take that other hand outside of the elbow, give a little bit of pressure again, just feel in the tricep. And then we lean down like this to feel it in the side. So this gets that whole upper body, that whole side, and then we switch. So again, even if you haven't really, ideally the muscles will be a little bit warm, if you're doing a quick cardio before, but even if you want to stretch whenever, just don't go as far, right? Don't hurt yourself, because if your muscles aren't warm, you won't be able to go as far, but you could still stretch, just make it a little easier. Lower body, quad stretch, just bring that foot up. This one, if you have knee problems, I'd probably skip this one. I'll show you a modification here. But we just want to stand up straight. We pull that heel in towards the butt. Try to keep the knees even. But again, this one, just be careful with this one on the knees. Modification to this is to kind of do a lunge. So we do a lunge so we keep our legs, our back leg mostly straight, and then we push our hips forward. You should feel that in that same part of the quad, kind of in your hip flexors too. If you sit a lot, this is a good stretch for your hip flexors. And then again, make sure we're doing the other side. So you can either pull that heel up, you can do that lunge, push the hips forward. And then for hamstrings, standing hamstring stretch, just reach down as far as is comfortable till you feel that stretch in the hamstrings. You can go down as far as you want. You can bend the knees a little bit, but the goal is to feel the stretch, right? So whatever position you want to get into to feel that stretch in the hamstrings. Modification to this would be to sit down and stretch your hamstrings. So, all right, quick workout, right? It's just to give you options. Use your imagination, find things that you like, find a partner, do whatever you can to get some exercise in. That's the key, right? 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, that's what we want to see. All right, running out of time. Upcoming webinars. Next month, mental health. Huge, 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 huge. We will talk about that. And then in June, we'll just do our normal kind of overall health and wellness, small changes that you can improve your health long-term. We'll build on everything that we typically talk about. And then if you do have lifestyle rewards, if they have questions, this is what will pop up. These will be noted if you go to submit. Most companies do not use these questions, but if they do, this is what they're going to be. And then here's our contact information. If you want to chat more, get more a little in depth as far as accountability with some exercise or just different tips. Again, this could be 17 webinars long. But if you want to chat more, you can call us, you can email us. This webinar will be on the blog here, healthcheck360.com/blog. We're on social media. We post some fun things and recipes and such. So go ahead and chat with us there. And then I will stay here to answer some more questions before we head out. If you have to head out, thank you so much for joining and have a wonderful day.